Hello, accelerated students. So here's what we're going to do. The last thing we're asking you to try is a submission, like kind of like an open-ended question. So what I've done is I've created a very similar situation to what you're going to try. All right, so I hope this helps as a guide. Make sure that you show your work. You could take a picture and submit it on the Google Doc, or you could even type in your thoughts and calculations. So here we go. Sam and Maya stand 48 feet apart. From Sam's position, the angle of elevation to the top of the statue is 61 degrees. From Maya's position, the angle of elevation to the same statue, 23 degrees. If they're standing in the same line of sight, then how tall is the statue? All right, so our goal is to figure out how tall. There's actually three triangles here, right? There's the outermost triangle, which is a right triangle. Now let's remember, we use SOHCAHTOA for right triangle trigonometry. If it's not a right triangle, then we could use either the law of sines or the law of cosines. So here's what I want to look at. We have the outermost triangle, which is a right triangle. We can use SOHCAHTOA. We have this kind of red triangle here, this smaller one inside here. That's also a right triangle, so we can use SOHCAHTOA. But this triangle here, okay, if we want to use any parts of that, this is not a right triangle, so we would either need to use law of sines or law of cosines. So here we go. We have to figure out which person is where. Now, of course, if you notice, we're ignoring the height of the people, and you're going to do that same thing for your example. So I want you to notice this. One of them looks up at 61 degrees, right? Sam. Maya looks up at 23 degrees. Now think about it, guys. This angle of elevation must be the larger one, right? Because don't you have to pick your chin up higher? You have to tilt your head up higher. You have to look at a greater angle of elevation to see the top if you're closer. So which person is 61 degrees angle of elevation? That's Sam. So I'm going to put an S here for Sam. That's where he's standing. Next, from Maya's position, the angle of elevation to the top is 23 degrees. So Maya is farther away. She doesn't have to look up as much because she's farther away, right? So that's 23 degrees. Now I'm missing one bit of information, the fact that Sam and Maya are standing 48 feet apart. So that means that this distance here is 48 feet, okay? All right, so here's what we're gonna do here, okay? Our goal eventually is to find the height of the statue. So I really need some lengths in this triangle here or in the larger one. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually going to start with, wait a second, let's think about this. I think we could actually find all three angles in this non-right triangle. 61 degrees here, but look, these two angles are a linear pair. So what's 180 minus 61, right? So 180 minus 60 is 20, right? Is 120, excuse me. So then this angle here is gonna be 119. Okay. Alrighty, we good? So now I have 23 degrees, I have 119 degrees. We can now figure out this third angle, right? So if you want, we could do 180 minus 60. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Sorry, 180 minus 23 minus 119. Right, leaving us with 38 degrees right here. So this is our 38 degree little sliver of an angle. Okay, guys, now think about this. I have all three angles in the non-right triangle, and I have one of its side lengths. I'm going to use law of sines, okay? So check it out. I actually would like this side length. Now, there are other ways to do this. You could pick a different side or angle, but basically, here's what I know. 38 degrees opens up to form 48 feet. I want this side across from 23 degrees. Since it's not a right triangle, I'm going to use the law of sines. So now I'm going to set it up. Ready? The sine of 38 degrees is to 48. The sine of 38 degrees is to the side it forms, 48 feet, excuse me. And then that's the same way that the sine of 23 degrees compares to that side. Okay, I'm going to use, I don't know, I'll use x. So I'm going to say the sine of 23 degrees is to x. So when I'm done solving this proportion, I'll have this side length. We'll get to the next step in a minute. I'm going to cross multiply here, right? So I'm going to have x sine 38 degrees equals 48 sine 23 degrees. I want x alone, so I'm going to divide by sine of 38. So that side length is going to be 48 sine 23 degrees over the sine of 38 degrees. Okay, so now here's where I take out my calculator. I'm going to approximate these values. So here we go. 48 sine 23, close it, and that's about 18.76, right? But now that's my numerator. I still have to divide by the sine of 38. Right, sine of 38 degrees, close it up. All right, so I'm getting about 30 point, let's call it 30.46. Now guys, let's think about that. Is that a reasonable answer? Let's see, 38 degrees forms 48 feet. Okay, so this is a smaller angle. I'm getting a smaller side. I think it's reasonable. So I'm gonna call this about 30.46 feet. Okay, now here's where we need to finish our question. Now I'm gonna ignore everything I just did except for this side length, and now I'm gonna use this smaller right triangle here. Okay, some people might choose to use law of sines again. You could if you want to, but I like just using SOHCAHTOA for right triangles. So if I just focus on this triangle here, okay, think about it. I want the side that is opposite of 61, and I know the hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse, that's sine, okay? So I'm gonna write the sine of 61 degrees equals opposite, I guess I'll use, I don't know, I guess, what I use x before, I'll use y for the height, okay? Y over 30.46. Now, I'm gonna cross multiply, right? Y equals about 30.46 sine of 61 degrees. Now, I left that decimal on my screen. So therefore, what I'm gonna do now is take 30.46 times the sine of 61. So I'll click times sine 61, close it, enter. Alrighty, and our statue is roughly 26.64 feet tall. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that helps give you a nice guide for your last submission for the week. Hopefully you're all staying healthy and safe. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.